What's up, guys? We are doing another tier list. Um, this time, we are going to be ranking the Hollow Knight charms. If you've been watching the Twitch streams, you will know that I have just beaten Hollow Knight for the first time. Um, I've never played it beforehand. I beat it in the span of 50 hours of gameplay. That's what it says when you beat the game. Um, I beat it at 105% completion, so I did do the White Palace. I did pretty much everything aside from Path of Pain, and I didn't do God Home. I have touched God Home since beating the game, but I haven't really done a whole lot. Like it is pretty difficult, the Pantheon and everything. So from as someone who just beat the game perspective, I'm going to kind of rank things and how I use them or how useful they are. This is going to be a kind of middle to late game um, rank. So I would say that it's going to be more of a not a no hit like Radiant player um, list, but like above average, but not like amazing by any means player level. But we're gonna start it off with the this charm. As much as everybody jokes about how it's um used, Wayward Compass. I know everyone jokes and says, "Oh, this is the most crucial thing." No, it does not mean anything for combat. I get that. I'm not saying that it's thing. You will have it on you though. 99% of the game, unless you know the map inside and out, like you've been playing this for forever. At this point, you shouldn't even be caring about watching this video if you're that good at Hollow Knight, honestly. If you know the map inside and out. But to get around the map, this is for one charm notch. It's good. It's useful. I mean, I'm putting it. Okay, so my tiers, I should probably go over that first. I have best, which are like the best charms you can put on your character, like the ideal ones to use. I have good, useful, which is they have a use, but they're not exceedingly good or bad. Niche means that they're not the ideal ones, but they do have some uses. And then Garbo is like just the ones that I would never see anybody actually using because they just don't have any use that's actually worth it, or if there's a better alternative to this certain um, charm. But I think that Wayward Compass fits in useful. I would say good, but I don't think that it's like it doesn't provide any type of effect aside from it tells you where you're at in the map, which realistically, um, you're only gonna take this charm off if you run into something where you're really struggling. That one charm notch is not gonna really change anything unless you really desperately need to change your charm layout. One charm notch, you could put like a Grub song or something on there, or I don't know, but you could rearrange your charms entirely, and maybe that one charm slot might help you. I don't know, but it has its uses. It's borderline good. It's probably the highest in usefulness because it does get used more than any other charm in the game. Think about it. It's on your character, unless you're really like playing your like I don't know if you're playing this for the 50th time, then maybe you know the entire map inside and out. You don't need it, whatever. But for the most part, every player is gonna have this on them for 99% of the game. It's borderline in the good category because it does its job perfectly. There's no time where it doesn't do its job perfectly. Gathering Swarm is one notch. It picks up Geo for you. Honestly, this is a waste in my opinion. Um, you don't need Geo that bad. I mean, if you're trying to speed run and I maybe, but I don't think that it's worth it. I mean, why would you really need that much? Like the Geo that falls, it's gonna be fodder. It's gonna be one or two Geo. Like I don't think that this is even moderately close to something that's really all that needable. It doesn't help you in combat in any shape or form. That one notch is again, you can reroute your notches to get better use. Um, it's not doing anything for you that's actually beneficial. It's just picking up Geo, which is not really all that useful. I'm definitely putting that Garbo. It's easily going in there, no doubt about it. Um, Stalwart Shell takes 2 notches, builds resistance when recovering from damage. The bear will remain invulnerable for so it eventually makes sure your invincible frames after you've taken a hit last longer, which I don't think that this is really all that great. If you're in a Radiant fight, you can't hit it even once. So that out of the way. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going for Radiant because, like I said, I haven't even done anything like that. I've beaten like 2 bosses and got home on Radiant. That's beyond my level. Um, this is not going to be super useful, and I don't really even know where you get this one at, but I don't think this is really all that useful. There's better charms you can use, even right off the bat. If you buy them from um, wherever you can buy them at, I mean, there's multiple places you can get pretty good charms at. Um, I don't really know if this has a niche, honestly. I mean, you're not trying to get hit. I mean, I guess no. I'm just gonna put in Garbo. I don't think that you really need that one for anything. Soul Catcher is a good charm for sure. Increases the amount of soul gained when striking a nail. Soul is gonna be your best friend. 65% of the game. Your nail and your soul. Your soul, I mean, it heals you and you can use it as a weapon. And I mean, the more you have of it, the more of a more you can heal, the more you can attack. That's very important. It doesn't do a lot, but it does make a difference. I do think that this is a good early charm to put on when you're first getting into the game. As soon as you can get it, throw it on. It's just two notches, not the end of the world. Shaman Stone. This thing packs a punch. Personally, I don't use soul attacks as often as I use my nail personally, but this one is really good. I'm gonna put it in best. You can if you're using a soul build where you're using your soul and you're not using your nail as much. Obviously, you're gonna have to use your nail a little bit to obviously get soul to use your shaman's stone, but um, the amount of damage, if you look at the stats on it, it does a very good job. For 3 notches, it's a little bit of a pricey charm, but 3 is fine. 3 is reasonable for what it does. Soul Eater is an amazing notch. It does what Soul Catcher does, but better, like significantly. It's 4 notches, so it's expensive. I think this would probably be towards the bottom of the best tier. Um, if you have the charm notches available to do it, and you just like to have extra soul, you'll never be out of soul. You'll have tons of it throughout the entire fight. It's a great charm. Um, as soon as you can get your hands on it, you could probably put it on there. Depends on your layout. Obviously, everything works differently. Anything in the best tier or even the good tier is definitely useful in its own way, shape, or form. Um, we got Dash Master, which just makes you dash a little more often. I don't think that this really has any really great use to it. Dashing downward, I've never really equipped this one because it just doesn't really seem like something that you would need. I've never been in a fight where I had to dash down because it doesn't attack. It's not a downward attack. You're just moving down, which doesn't really. I don't think that's really all that impressive of a charm, and it's 2 notches, 2 notches. I don't think that's worth using at all. Sprint Master, its cousin, also not that great. You move a little faster. I mean, if you have one charm notch and you're just like screw it, whatever, I guess that's fine. Um, I guess I don't really think that you really need it though. There's really no reason unless you're trying to like run around as fast as you can. It doesn't really affect anything in combat. Um, at all. Like it doesn't give you any boost in combat. Like you get a little bit extra speed, but more than likely you're going to be dashing, and it doesn't make your dashing any faster or further. If it had adjusted your dashing or speed a little more with or like anything to do with that maybe, but like even the dash master, I feel like dash master would probably be above this one. I don't really see this one being used. Maybe if you're running around, maybe, but dash master I don't even see really being all that useful because the shade shadow is the good one that you're gonna want to use, and it doesn't refill it any faster. If dash master refilled your shadow dash faster, then it'd be a top tier charm. I guarantee it because you could just dodge everything. Um, but regardless of how it is, it's a niche because it just doesn't. I think that maybe if you're early game and you have the charm slots open and you don't have other perks, sure, whatever. Maybe it makes you. Maybe you can go through the map a little faster if you're speed running or something. I don't even think speedrunners use it very often. Grub Song is easily an amazing one notch charm. You're getting soul every time you get hit. Um, this is a really good one for the fight with the false knight. I know it's an early boss, but the dream version is even harder, and this can help because you don't get any soul when you're fighting that boss at all. Like you don't unless you use the dream nail, which in that fight, if you're using the dream nail, you got to have that other charm that we're gonna get to eventually too, and you can farm it when you have that guy knocked down. But again, that's a very niche time to have that. But this one, you get enough. You get hit like twice, you'll have enough to be able to heal at least one health, which is pretty useful in that fight. But I think that even outside of that fight, this one is great because you get more soul. That means more attacks, and you get some of that health back when you heal that. You know, like you get hit, you get some soul. It's almost like you're halfway back to healing yourself. And it's one charm. One charm notch is a very useful thing. Anytime there's a one charm for something, that makes it an infinitely better. I think that it's a one charm notch charm is the best ones most of the time, because you can just throw it in there. Unless it's like a garbage one, then then it has no use. Fine, but no. Grubberfly's elegy. Um, it emits a fire beam from your nail when you're at full health. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've never equipped this one because the way that it sounds, and I've seen gameplay on how it looks. I could see how it would be useful. Like I'm sure it's a good perk, a good thing, but it's three. First of all, it's three charm notches. You have to get very far into the game to unlock it because you have to get a lot of grubs, um, in order to unlock this thing. And it's only activated if you're at full health. And there are niche ways to work around that where you can get hit and still have it. But that requires even more charm notches, and that's not ideal. Um, if you're really good and you're good at not taking damage, fine. That's a great perk. Again, not everybody's gonna be doing that. Some people take damage right as soon as they leave the damn bench because they fucking misjudged a jump or something. You know, like it's like yes, you can heal yourself and get right back up to it, but in a boss fight where you have hard times to heal, it's essentially like you're wasting three charm notches. If you take one hit, then you're trying to like get back to that, and if you had all those charm notches, you'd be able to do something else. So it's just I don't think that it's an amazing charm personally. Um, we got Fragile Heart and Unbreakable Heart. We're gonna run them both together because they do the same thing, regardless of if they break or not. It does exactly the same thing. The unbreakable one is obviously gonna be expensive, and it's gonna be more of a late game thing. But essentially, they still do the same thing, regardless. I never equipped any of the breakable ones because it's just too much of a gamble in certain spots. Um, but and it's a little expensive to repair it every time you go into a fight. It's just smarter to just get it unbreakable and then be done with it. Um, which the smart way to do it is do the greed one and then do the strength and then the heart, because the health one's kind of the last one. But the health one, I would say it's good. I would say that it's a good charm because it's only two charm notches, and you get two health, two health. You know, those are refillable health bars, so you can just get stronger and you can rebuild back up to that. Which you'll not understand why I'm clarifying that, because there's another charm that does the same thing, but you can't refill them, and it's why that's the thing is beyond me. But the both of them are gonna go in good. I wouldn't say best because those two charms, that's you expecting to be hit, so you want to have those two health bars. I don't think that you want to do that personally. I don't think that that's a thing that you want. Uh, Agreed. This one I will say it has usefulness because of the fact that you get more geo. That means you can create the other ones to be unbreakable faster. And there's a lot of things you can spend geo on in the game. And I mean, at some point you're gonna have everything spent, and it's gonna be like, who cares? But I think that it has its use to speed up the process of getting geo for other things in the game. Um, I think that useful is a good spot. I wouldn't say it's good or bad because it's really the money ones are not going to help you in combat at all, and it's like it says, it's a greed. You're taking a greed stance. You're saying I'm good enough to play this game where I don't need those charm notches, so I can do it differently. It's only two charm notches. It's the same as doing the health. Instead, you can either do two health bars or you can do the greed. Either way, that's kind of a preference thing. I never equipped greed because just I already had everything kind of bought. Um, but here's the really good one: unbreakable strength. This thing is the best thing that I have used in the game. In my opinion, this thing makes a hell of a difference. It's not two times damage like it should kind of be probably, but I think it's like 1.5 or something like that damage on your nail. Um, and it's three notches. I understand that that's three notches is a lot, but this thing is amazing. If there's any time when you're traversing through the map, everything's a one hit. Aside from the red beetle guard guys that you have to beat the shit out of to kill, everything else is one hit with this thing. If you have the upgraded nail all the way to the furthest of the nail, um, this thing is incredible. I love Unbreakable Strength. It's hands and knees probably my favorite charm that I've tried so far. There's ones I've had more fun with, and we'll get to that, but that's probably the best one for me. Spell Twister uh, reduces the soul used for casting spells. Um, I don't think that this one's amazing, but because I mean that's two charm notches, and um, I just don't think that like if it made it cheaper to heal as well, this would be a great charm. But only casting spells, that means it only works in combat. And I know that this one probably works really well in the Radiant fight. Um, but aside from that, there's not a lot of bosses that you need to be spamming soul spells, in my opinion. Like a lot of it's just you and your nail, and then like you use your spells like in between when you're confident you can like get a stagger a boss or something. But I don't think that the niche use of this is all that incredible. But it does have a use. It's niche, but I'm gonna put it above these two guys because I think that it has more of a niche use. Um, but that's about it. Um, Steady body. incredible one charm notch charm. This thing it cancels out all of the backlash from when you hit something. You won't go flying back a little bit, so you can just keep spamming the attack, and you won't move, which is incredible when paired with unbreakable strength. Because you're doing more damage, you're doing it without going back at all. You can keep laying into them. And there's another one that we're coming up on to pretty soon here that that stacks really well with because you're just doing a lot of damage. Nail's gonna go burr. Um, heavy blow. Wait, it's not heavy blow. That's quick slash. Where did heavy blow go? Is it not on here? So this one's this I believe this one was supposed to be it because there's two shaman stones for some reason. Just imagine that this one is heavy blow. It is two charm notches and it is garbage. Garbage. Do not equip this one. It is terrible. Increases the force of the bear's nail, but it doesn't do more damage. It causes enemies to recoil further when hit. That is smaller enemies. Bosses, it kind of it'll get you closer to the stagger, but not really. And some enemies, some bosses don't have a stagger that you can do. So this is kind of garbage when it comes to boss fights. And I mean, what small enemies do you need to send back? Like I said earlier, Unbreakable Strength, the upgraded nail, it literally one shots every small enemy as it is. So, like, why would you need the heavy blow? It has no real use, in my opinion, at all. But this thing right here, phenomenal. Three notches. I know it's expensive, but three is valuable for what this is. It's called Quick Slash, and you can attack rapidly. This one pairs really well with quick strength of unbreakable strength and steady body. You will be hitting fast, stronger, and there's gonna be no kickback. So you can just lay into the boss. You can hit him like 5 times just from getting behind them before they finish their attack. It is incredible. It is these three charms, insane, insane. I cannot say enough about how much I love those three charms. Those are definitely on my main lineup of charms. I use grub song sometimes too, because if you have like that extra charm notch as well. But long nail, I can. This one's all right. It's useful. I won't say it's good because the difference between the regular nail and long nail is not that impressive. Um, for two notches, if this was a one notch thing, it would be in good tier. Maybe even into the. I don't think it would be in best tier still. I think it would probably be in good tier, but two charm notches. It does make you a longer thing if you want to do some pogoing. It does make a little bit of a difference, but not by much. Um, and yes, you can do a little bit further of attacks. It's like a couple pixels. It's not groundbreaking whatsoever, but if you have two charm notches and you don't have these single ones, like you could pair these two together and it'd be better than having long nail in my opinion. But if you don't have these together, like obviously if you want to do one, then you can't use this one. So I would for this over one of these two. But if you have both these, I would use both these before this. So this has a use for sure, but it's not incredible by any means. But we have Big Daddy Long nail, the mark of pride. This thing is good, very good. I think that it's nearly in best. Um, if it wasn't three notches, personally, I think that it has much more length than the long nail. It's much longer. It's a very long extension of the nail. I think that it definitely goes in good. I don't think it goes in best because again, it's three notches. Um, you can pair it with quick slash and unbreakable strength, but then at that point, you have like no more charm notches left. Essentially, might have one, and that's That's not ideal by any means. When there's better options, I think you get 10 charm notches in total, I believe, right? Um, so you would have 2 notches left, which you can use. I mean, that's not terrible, but compared to the one I'm going to suggest instead, I think that the other one's better. But if you're more confident and you're not trying to get hit, this one might be better because you can have more reach. You're not like getting as close to the enemy to hit them. This one, Fury of the Fallen, I if you're really good at the game, um, I would say maybe niche. But here's the thing: Radiant fights, you start at full health. If you get hit, you die. This has zero use because you will never be at 0 health ever the entire fight. Because if you do take damage, the fight's over. You're lost. So it has no use there. If you're just really good at not getting hit when you're at, if you want to take yourself down to 1 hit and you're just really good at not being hit, fine. It does a lot of damage. This actually does a lot of amplified damage. If you combine this with Unbreakable Strength, um, you're going to be beating the shit out of people. That's fine. I don't think that it's all that great. I don't even think it deserves to go in niche, but I will put it at the bottom of the niche because if somebody wants to use it, it does pack a punch if you can use it. But it's kind of a dangerous thing to use. Thorns of Agony, I will say, is a niche charm. I actually use it when I first started because I didn't know that there was better alternatives. Here's the thing with Thorns of Agony is you're going to whenever you take damage, you're going to damage all nearby enemies. But it also it takes away from your invincibility. So let's say you got hit and you need to dash out of there real quick, otherwise you're going to take another hit. This stops that from happening because your time that you're supposed to be getting the hell out of there is replaced by you damaging the enemy, and you also don't get any soul for the thorns. So realistically, this thing could kill you. It's 1 charm notch. I will say that I'll say it's bottomly useful. I used it quite a bit, and it does help in the Coliseum and a few other things. If you really just need to like get rid of whatever enemy's attacking you, sometimes it can help. But it doesn't pack as much of a punch. It's not groundbreaking. It's not going to save you. If you have that charm notch open and that's the only thing you can throw in there, sure. But I don't think that it's that amazing. Baldur's Shell, I've never personally equipped this one, but I've seen my friends use it and I've seen people use it before. This is actually useful for for the not the Coliseum, the Pantheon, because again, you can't be hit. This thing will protect you for 4 hits. It's from I believe it's 4. It's not indestructible, but it'll do 4 hits since you've left a bench. So realistically, if you're in the Pantheon Radiant fights, this will protect you from 4 hits. I believe it's 4. But only when you're healing, which I don't think you're going to be ready for it. So it has a niche thing, but I don't think anyone would actually use it that way because most people just don't plan on being hit. Um, but I will say it's niche. It's not bad. Um, if you're trying to find a way to heal in a fight, maybe. But it also, when you get hit, it throws you out of that heal. You're not getting that heal off after you've been hit, so it does not like continue to heal. It just takes the hit for you, but you don't continue healing. So take what you want from that, but I don't think that it's a great charm to have. And it's 2 charm notches, not 1. So it's I don't know. Fluke Nest. So if you watch the YouTube videos of the speedrunning strat and the brokenness of this charm, it's 3 charm notches. I cannot get it to work for me. I know that there's a bug where it can hit multiple hit boxes, and that's incredible. Like that people found that. Um, I heard that this can like destroy bosses. I know that I've heard that from a lot of people. I have no good experience with it personally. I'm gonna put this in top of niche because again, it's a niche use. Not everyone's gonna use it, but when it does work for that niche group, it's phenomenal. I think that it's probably the best charm for somebody who knows how to use it. Defender's Crest. Um, from what I've heard, I think this thing makes enemies that are small stay away from you. Possibly, I think is what I heard. And this also creates dialogue for certain things. Again, niche use with the dialogue stuff, but not all that great in combat. It's not going to work in a boss fight. It might help for like very low level bosses that have like spawnable units that like you don't want them to attack you. I don't even know if that'll work personally. That's just me speculating that that would work. It probably won't. So this probably has no actual use. Maybe a navigating, but again, niche. I would say there's probably niche because it does have a use where you can find different talking points and activates different things because you have this on. And it's one charm notch, so I'm gonna be forgiving and not put it in Garbo. Glowing Womb drains the soul of its bearer and uses it to birth hatchlings. Um, these things, I've never used this one because the moment it said that it drains your soul, I didn't want anything to do with it. I don't think that that thing is worth anything. I don't care if it's one charm notch, two charm notch. I need my soul to heal and to attack. So what you're saying is you're signing me Death Wish by having this charm. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't care if someone says, "Hey, there's a niche use to it." I do not care. I would rather cast spells and heal. This guy right here is the last piece of the missing puzzle to the greatest build that I have ever used. It is quick focus. I'm going to put it right in there. These three right here will just destroy people. These three, along with these two, unbreakable strength, quick slash, quick focus, rub song, and steady body. That is the 10 notches I would prefer to use in almost every layout. When you're using Wayward Compass, then you get rid of one of these two guys. But in a boss fight where you know where you're at, there's no navigating involved, these are the 10 you want, in my honest opinion. There are other ways to do this. You could use something different than these two. Like the smaller soul one that costs 2 charm notches, maybe, or even the health one. These ones are all good ones to use as well. I wouldn't really recommend any of the ones down here in those situations, but I don't know. I'm just gonna say that this thing right here is amazing because you heal faster and you can heal like twice as fast. It feels like so you can heal twice in the time it takes to do one. Which I understand that you're gonna hear that and you're gonna think that the next one's good, but hear me out. This one's amazing. Deep focus. What you do with this is you heal soul at a slower rate. So it takes you longer to heal, but it doubles it. Now, that sounds like, oh, maybe that would be all right because you're using less soul. Here's the other thing, though. It's 4 charm notches. That is insanely overpriced. And in no boss fight are you going to have time to heal slow. There's going to be niche times to heal, and this is not going to work out for you. I don't think that this is a good perk at all. It's a very bad one. I don't see there any use for it at all, in my opinion. I don't think that you want to use 4 charm notches on something like this. This is just egregious. I understand what they were thinking when they made it, but I think it's to persuade you to use a charm that's a waste of charm notches and time. Lifeblood Heart. This is what I was saying with the Unbreakable Health charm. This one gives you 2 health that you can refill. This does the exact same thing, but it gives you Lifeblood Hearts. Now, what the Lifeblood Hearts do is when they're destroyed, you remain at full health, but you don't refill that health. So you can pair this with Rub Song's Elegy and still be at full health. But here's the thing: if you want to have all those health things, you can't have them back after you've left the bench and you've taken damage. Those are gone. They're never coming back. You have to sit back at another bench to get those back. Personally, if I'm navigating to an area, I'm gonna hit thorns at least once or twice even. So at that point, the charm's useless, and that's two charm notches. So it's not. I feel like if you have it and it might be useful. I don't think it's all that great though. I don't think that anyone wants to use that. Actually, I'm gonna put that in Garbo. I would not waste the two charm notches on that. It's literally a garbage version of this one. It only works well if it pairs with Elegy for that one little niche thing. And the thing about this one is it's a worse version of this one that you get later on. The lifeblood core or lifeblood heart is garbage. The lifeblood core you get from going into the abyss chamber where you get all those lifeblood hearts to enter it, and you get four, and that's four of them for three charm notches. So essentially, you're getting more for your bang for your buck. Three charm notches is still expensive. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's still good. I would say it's a good use. You're getting 4 health for three charm notches. You pair it with Elegy, that's a very expensive investment. But if you like that thing, I mean, if you know how to use Grubsong's Elegy and you don't want to like lose it after getting hit, fine. Um, I think that that's a all right thing to do. I guess I don't think it's best. I think it's very bottom tier of good, but it's good. I mean, it's a good. If you have it for some reason, like, and you don't have the other ones, which this is a very late game charm to obtain, because you have to have the other one that I'm going to talk about afterwards, after this one, along with some other stuff, and you kind of have to plan to get down to where you have to be at. Because it takes, like, I want to say 12 blue hearts to get into this area, so the chances of that is kind of, like, if you didn't already know about it, you're not going to find it. So it's, like, a really weird thing to even talk about, this charm. The next one is Joni's Blessing, which this turns your health into the blue hearts, but you get more health than what you would typically have. Um, so essentially, you can take more damage. But the other thing is you can't heal. So I'm gonna put it in niche because this is what's required for you to get the lifeblood core. But that is the only reason why it's not going in Garbo, because this thing is a fucking horrible charm to actually use in any other usefulness of it all. I only put it on one time, and that was to get the lifeblood core. Aside from that, it's a waste. There's no reason to get it. Don't waste your time. Don't use it. It's one of the worst charms in the game, but it has a niche use, so I'm putting it in niche. So it's gonna go at the very bottom of niche. Hive blood. This one I'm gonna put it in useful, um, right next to the compass, and you're gonna say why? This thing will refill one health, when you take damage, and you're gonna say, well, it takes like 10 seconds to heal. That's insane. Like, that's really dumb. Like, why would you ever want that? It doesn't heal beyond 1 health. Now, this is where it's going to be interesting. It has a very strong use for one thing. One, it does help in the Coliseum. I will say that for charm notches, I wouldn't use this in the Coliseum, but it does help in the final level if you need to have that extra healing going on, because there's that one spot where you're jumping from the walls and you can't heal when you're on the wall. And those mosquito things can be kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. So having that 1 health refill, if you can stay on there for 10 seconds without being hit, you get a health back. That's like, that might save you. I don't know. There's other charms you could probably use instead. But regardless, the real use for this thing that is amazing, it's one of my favorite things that I've found, is the White Palace. Those fucking saw blades. If you use this, every time you die, just wait 10 fucking seconds. You have your health back. You don't have to use any soul. Um, it's phenomenal for that. Any other time you're using soul, and once you run out of soul, you run out of health, and then then you got to restart from the bench. That's not useful in the White Palace because you're gonna die a lot if you don't know what you're doing. Which a lot of people are gonna struggle with that. Like Path of Pain, even. This would be really good for Path of Pain. Obviously, you're gonna need more than that to do it. You're gonna need to just know what you're doing, but that's a really skilled area. So having that extra health to come back, so you're not like pinched on like um having health. This would is very good in the White Palace. Probably the most useful perk in the White Palace, I believe, personally. I think when you're going for the other half of the white charm, that's the one you want to use. It's by far that's best use, and I think it's good enough of a use to put it next to the compass. Spore Shroom. When focusing Soul, emit a spore cloud that slowly damages enemies. This thing has tick damage. Um, I've never used it personally because I don't really think that I really care because most enemies don't stay still for very long to stay in your smoke cloud. Um, so it don't really have good use. I don't think that it's a good one. It's not a garbage idea because like if you could figure out a way to use it really well to cheese a boss, cool. But honestly, I just don't think that it's really all that good. I just don't think that it's even useful. Like I don't know if these are even a niche use. So I'm gonna put it in Garbo. If I'm wrong about that one, fine, correct me. I don't care. That's just my opinion on that. The next one we have is Sharp Shadow. This is the one that I have had the most fun with. I know that it's not an ideal charm. It's two charm notches. If this was one charm notch, this would be my favorite charm. Um, every time you shadow dash through somebody, your body becomes hard and it hurts them. And I understand that like here's the thing, you're gonna be using the shadow dash to avoid attacks a lot. And when you can shadow dash through an opponent, that's a really good thing to have. Because you're gonna hit them. The problem is it doesn't farm any soul. That's like the biggest issue with this charm. If it gave you soul for the hits, this would be easily hands down one of the best perks and one of the best charms in the game. But it doesn't do a lot of damage. It only does nail damage, which and you also if you attack through somebody, you have to wait for that shadow dash to come back. And I mean, sometimes that can kind of screw you up. But I love this charm enough where I'm putting it at the bottom of best. It would go in good if I looked at it as a usefulness, but I'm gonna put it in best because it is so fun to use when you're navigating through an area and you need to get through an enemy. You can just shadow dash, turn around, swipe dead. Even if you don't have unbreakable strength, you can use it for insane things. Um, it's just fun, and the little cheap shots you can throw in alongside is great. There's a couple bosses where you don't get as much time to use your nail, and this can kind of come in to help a little bit. For two charm notches, it's not a bad investment. I think that it's a pretty damn good charm regardless. Shape of Un. This one turns you into a snail when you're focusing soul, so you're kind of moving. You can move around while you're healing, and you become very small. Uh, I don't really have a use for this. I never equipped it. I could see a niche use for it. Um, just because, like, again, you can move around when you're healing, which opens up more healing spots. Because most of the time when you're healing, there's a way where you maybe might be able to avoid something. Um, but again, it's a very niche use. I wouldn't say it's useful because again, it's two charm notches. Um, it's just not. I wouldn't recommend it for like late game unless like you have like a good use for it. If you're comfortable using it, go ahead. Again, this list is just from my perspective of the game. There might be uses where you're like, you know what, this is actually a really fun one to use. Go ahead. I'm not discrediting you. Whatever works for you works for you. This is more for me to talk to you to kind of say what I had the best luck with and stuff like that. Kind of give you guys like an idea of maybe I should try this charm out instead. This one's Nail Master's Glory. You can use nail arts faster. Um, I didn't really use this one. Nail arts just didn't seem like they were all that needed, personally. I've seen that using them in the Pantheon is a good idea. Um, Again, I never used them. I'm gonna say they're useful. I don't. I feel like they're probably good. If I used them, I'd probably understand that they're probably good. But I'm gonna just put useful because it's just you're not going to use it very often. I don't think that it's a thing that you really need. Um, Compared to the other stuff, I just don't think it does that much. Um, I've seen people use it in insane ways. That's why I'm putting it in useful. I'm not putting it in niche. I've seen people use it in insane ways, and I know that if you could master it, it'd probably be a pretty good perk, a pretty good charm, especially for one charm notch. Again, one charm notch makes a big difference. I'm gonna put it in useful because one charm notch is not going to take up your charm notch list, and that's great. Next one we got is Weaver Song. Silken Charm summons Weaverlings to give the lonely bearer some companionship and protection. And it takes 2 charm notches. This one is Rubber Song, but so much better. So much better. It's this just garbage one right here. It does it way better because what happens is this will not happen from your soul. As far as I remember, this doesn't take from your soul, so you can still heal. And then also, whenever they attack or die, I believe they farm soul for you. I think you have to pair it with Grub Song. I think you have to pair it with Grub Song, but that's two. That's only 3 charm notches, and you're producing soul at a great rate. And again, you can use your soul. That's the thing. Like it doesn't drain you. I'm gonna say this is useful. Um, in positions where you might want them to attack and then feed you soul, so you can keep like a ranged attack. Maybe in like a radiant fight, maybe where you don't want it to actually be up in the boss's face, and you want them to kind of go after them, and then like use your burst instead of getting in there with your nail. I could see it being useful. Dream Wielder. This allows you to use the Dream Nail faster and collect more soul. This one has uses because you're gonna collect more soul, and you can actually use your dream nail. There's not that super long charge up where you're gonna get hit when you're trying to charge it. This thing works really well, especially if you use this with the false knight fight that I was talking about earlier. This thing can help a lot too because you can use your dream nail to produce a lot of soul. I think this one for one charm notch, we're gonna put it in good. I think that's a really good charm. If you want to use it, if you need soul, again, I don't use. I'm not much of a um, soul caster, and I don't really. I don't know. I'll forget to use it. That's the thing. I'll forget to use the dream nail. If you can remember to use it, this thing would probably be incredible. We're going to use Dream Shield next. This thing is a shield that rotates around your player randomly. You cannot control it, and it will absorb a hit. And then every 4 or 5 seconds, it replenishes, and then it does it again. You can't control the fucking thing. You can time it to jump so it's in the way of whatever's coming after you, maybe, but it's not a charm that I would suggest. This is also 3 charm notches. The fuck? 3? I just think that's a terrible, terrible investment. I'm putting that in Garbo. I'll put it above these guys because it's like just not good. Um, I'm gonna put that one there. I just it's if you can't even control it, what's the fucking point? I mean, I guess you can probably put it over these guys. Um, Grimchild. Um, this thing will is needed to find the fires to fight Grim, and then the alternate version of Grim. And then once you defeat Grim, you get a buddy that follows you around and attacks enemies. Um, I don't know if it really is all that great. I'm sure it's probably decent. It's only 2 charm notches, but again, it doesn't. I mean, it's decently accurate, but it's not doing a ton of damage. It's kind of just chipping away at the enemy as you're fighting it. I don't know. I'm gonna put it in good because I feel like it could. It's I mean it's like Weaver Song and Grubber Song, but I guess better because it has projectiles and it can kind of just you can play like conservative away from the enemy and it'll kind of chip at them while you're kind of just playing it safe. That's fine. Careless Melody. I never obtained this charm. I have every other charm, but I didn't even know this one existed. Um, it will defend the bearer from damage randomly, and it will not always happen. The first time you get hit after sitting on a bench, it will take. You're going to take the hit 100%. There's 0% chance that it saves you on your first hit. After that, it goes up to a 10%, 20%. I believe that's how it works. So, and then once you have a, when it protects you, it gets reset back to 0. So the next time you're going to get hit, you're going to get hit. So it's very inconsistent. It's very RNG based. I don't know. I don't think this is a very good perk. Especially with 3 charm notches. I'm gonna put it in a niche. I get what they're going for. Maybe it can kind of help you in the Coliseum, possibly. Um, but it's just not something you can depend on because it's randomly generated. Like I don't know. King Soul, when you get both halves of the charm and they click together and you leave the White Palace, um, the bearer will slowly absorb the limitless soul contained around it. So essentially, you it can completely just keeps having a limitless amount of soul, which sounds good on paper. You get a decent amount of soul. It works really well, but it's 5 charm notches. That's half your charm notches, just so that you have recurring soul, which you're gonna have plenty of. You're gonna have plenty of soul. If you use the right charms, you will have tons of soul. You don't have to worry about having soul. You're gonna have it. um, for 5 charms, that is insane. And 90% of the time, when you get this charm, you're gonna get rid of it within 5 minutes. There's no point. Honestly, there's no point in having this charm. I understand the nicheness of it. You can use it for. It does what it does great. Um, but again, it's not desirable by any means. The reason why you're getting it is to get the true end. This thing right here is the void heart. This is what this thing turns into. There's only one use for it in the game. It's the only thing. It has 0 charm notches, so there's no really risk or reward to it. Um, all the shade attacks stop attacking you. It's like the little siblings, what they call them, or the void tendrils. Also, they won't attack you anymore. Um, but it won't attack you. But this also opens up the true ending. I don't know if that's what they call it, but that's like the harder ending to get to. That I believe is like the accurate canon ending. Um, and it's hard to rank this because again, it doesn't really have any other use, um, at all. It's 0 charms, so I'm just gonna put it in best because you're gonna have it on, and then you're never gonna take it off, and there's no risk to it. You're gonna have it on you at late game regardless. So I mean, that's it. But yeah, so to wrap things up, The best charms I believe you can use in the game are Unbreakable Strength, Quick Slash, uh, Quick Focus, um, Grub Song, and Steady Body. Those are the 10 you want to use, the 10 charm notches you want to use. But you can also change those out. But those three big, like 3 use charms, I think that you might have to use either Grub Song or Steady Body. I don't think you can use both. I'm not sure on that, but regardless, those are the ones you want. Um, but Shaman Stone and Soul Eater are both great because I mean you're gonna get a lot of soul, you're gonna cast a lot of spells, and you're gonna do a lot of damage. Sharp Shadow's up there because it's just really fun to use. It's just satisfying when you hit an enemy and they just explode. They just like you use your head as a fucking missile and you just explode them. Oh, it's great. Um, there's a few good ones. There's some useful ones. Um, there's a lot of ones that just require a niche that I just don't really think are all that great. Um, and then there's some garbage ones. Um, and I don't think this is the ideal for like I'm not an experienced player. Like I said, I have 50 something hours into the game. I beat the true ending. I beat Radiance and Nightmare King Grim, but I've barely scratched the surface when it comes to the God Home fights in the Pantheon. So, but I wanted to make this video because I haven't made any YouTube content in a while, and I feel like I'm very behind on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. The almost hour-long video of me yapping about Hollow Knight, this goofy little game that is just freaking amazing to play. Um, but yeah, I I'm hoping for Silksong this year. Fingers crossed. I know that's a kind of a running meme at this point, but who knows? But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. We're gonna be doing all kinds of goofy stuff. We do music reactions. We do um tier lists of goofy stuff like this. There's all kinds of stuff we do on this channel. So definitely give me a subscription, a subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitch. We go live 2 to 3 times a week. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.